Welcome to Surviving Roots, the podcast where we navigate the messy, beautiful work of healing and growth. I'm your host, Cari, and this is your space to breathe, reflect, and find strength. Whether you're breaking free from old patterns, healing from loss, or rebuilding your story one small step at a time, you're in the right place. So take a deep breath, give yourself this time, and let's uncover the tools to move forward with courage. This podcast is for you. Lauren Courtney is a native New Yorker turned Miami mystic who combines over a decade of energy healing, sound therapy, and spiritual wisdom to help others reclaim their voice, their light, and their power. She's the author of Glow Up Your Chakras, From Medicated to Meditated, a powerful guide to healing from the inside out. Through her one-on-one sessions, her membership, the Glow Up Portal, and now her debut book, Lauren guides people through the messy, miraculous path of healing and self-remembrance. Welcome to Surviving Roots, Lauren. I'm so honored to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Truly an honor to sit and chat with you.
I'm so excited. You know, for everyone listening, I feel like we've met before in person, but we've never actually met.
No, we were supposed to be on a panel that never came to fruition. I think like 2 years ago already.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Yeah, we had like a Zoom meeting with some other women and that never happened, but we just kept in touch through Instagram. And yeah, I feel like I know you so well, but it's just because we're connected that way.
One day we'll meet in person.
I know. One day we have to grab a coffee. I want my book signed. Well, first of all, congratulations on the release of your new book. That is not an easy task, one, writing, but also just being vulnerable. So congratulations on your book, baby.
Thank you. Thank you. She's alive. She's breathing. She's living. She's out in the world.
She's beautiful. I mean, really, I love the cover. Glow Up Your Chakras, From Medicated to Meditated. We just have to dive in because the book cover and the title, like, I'm hooked.
Thank you. So it's wild because it started out actually as a chakra healing cookbook about 10 years ago. That was the idea. I was coming out of being a private chef in New York City, entering into the spiritual world, and I knew I had this book inside of me. And then it transformed as I transformed really over the last few years. And it started becoming less of a cookbook and more of a healing journey and memoir for me. So all of a sudden I was like, this isn't the book I thought it was, so I've got to come up with a new name. And I woke up one morning and it was Glow Up Your Chakras, From Medicated to Meditated.
Isn't the process so beautiful? It's like you think you're set out to do one thing and just what is it? Your inner knowing, your inner being is just like, no, we're going to go this way. This is what's meant to be.
The level of surrender and patience in writing a book. I think it's probably like what someone goes through when they have a child and then the child grows up. That will be the next book for me. But I feel like it's similar because it's having this patience and nurturing it. Because had I told the story I would have told before, which would have had part of what is in this book, of course, and so much more is in here, it just wouldn't have hit the same way that this book did, because this book I'm writing from my healed place instead of my ego being like, you have to get your book out. People need to see it. People need to read it. And now it's like, oh, if no one got to see this book, that's unfortunate. But like, I got to write it and read it and heal through it. So I'm just excited to be able to now share this book versus any other one I would have shared.
Well, I'm so excited. I want to talk all about it. And, I truly believe writing is so therapeutic and so much healing happens in between the words. So congratulations, not only on the healing that it's offered you, but all of the healing and the stories that people will connect to and like heal and grow themselves. That's like a really beautiful process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you share in your book that your spiritual awakening began after a profound loss. Can you walk us through that moment and how it changed not only how you saw yourself, but how you saw yourself really in the world?
Yeah. So it's interesting because as I wrote and as I went on my own healing journey, I realized it didn't it wasn't just this one thing that happened. There were a few things that happened, which I talk about throughout the book. Leaving corporate America, having jaw surgeries, an ex getting arrested in my apartment that led me to finding Kundalini yoga, which ultimately led me to being ready for my greatest awakening, which was when my best friend and first love passed away. And the day he crossed over, he began communicating with me. And I won't ruin too much because it's obviously all inside of the book. I love that both of my lights just went out that I had. So I'm like, okay. Well, he's always present. He's like, he loves that I wrote this book. And I know that his soul was a part of me writing it.
Oh, that's so beautiful. In the early stages of your healing, what did it really look like behind the scenes? Were there any messy moments where you wondered, is this even working?
Yeah, it's interesting because the first, I would say, 4-ish years of my awakening, 5 years, I was like on a unicorn. It was like rainbows, butterflies, unicorns. Oh my God, everyone should do Reiki. Everyone should heal. Like coming from a place that I didn't understand was still like my unhealed ego. Like I thought I was in a healed place, but it was so much deeper. It was in my roots and it was stuff that I had yet to dig into from my own childhood and my own birth that it eventually I evolved and I went deeper into shadow aspects. So the first part of my awakening was this like grand adventure where I was finding all the tools, doing all the things after my ex passed away. And at this 2 years later, my best friend from elementary school passed away. And she also brought me on that kind of unicorn ride. But then my grandmother passed. And that's what prompted me to write the book and actually dive deeper into my roots and my healing. So it was like I went on a journey that I never could have planned as I wrote the book and as I was just simply living through the experiences that I would eventually tell.
Wow. I love how you describe that because honestly, like for so many of us, like when I started my healing journey, I started 15 years ago, but really got honest with myself about a couple years ago. You do get on this healing high. You're so in tune and so connected. But then you do realize you can go so much deeper. And then you have to really start to have a conversation with yourself, like, not being judgmental. And when you're truly healing, having compassion for others rather than, cutting people out because they don't fit your new way of life. So it really is. Do you think healing is a lifelong journey? Is there an end to it ever?
It's interesting because I feel like I'm in this moment. And of course, there's always going to be healing because there's going to be new things that reveal itself to me. Though I feel like I'm in this moment where like I'm quite literally taking my book and putting it on the shelf. And all of the trauma and experiences that I needed to live, I'm complete with those lessons and they're no longer being held, whether it be in my physical organs, in my emotions, in my nervous system, whatever, in my chakras, of course. So I feel like it's going on the shelf and now I get to write a whole new life and a whole new story.
Oh, I love that, and it's so powerful that that you hold the pen, not even really to write this book, but the pen of your life and that you can rewrite your story like anytime, any tomorrow, like any day, even tomorrow. Like so many people think they're either too busy or they're too old or it's too late to heal or to create this life that, they're meant to have. So, bravo to you.
Thank you. And it's interesting, I'll share this because I already know the next book because I'm living through it right now. Like through writing this book and doing all the things I was guided to do in terms of my healing journey, which I of course share inside, I figured out the root cause of so much of my trauma. And I always knew for me, there was something at birth. That's what kept coming through to me over the last 3 years. And I learned a few months ago in October, that I have a tongue tie that went undiagnosed as a baby. And that tongue tie led, of course, to potentially me having the jaw surgeries I had, being medicated, potentially having to be medicated for ADHD and all of the things. So I did the healing work to literally come back home to myself. And the week after the book comes out, I'm going into prenatal yoga teacher training, which is a whole rebirth in itself. And the following day to it ending, I'm having my tongue tie released.
Wow.
So I see this as actually this new life that I get to live. I got to really disconnect from the first life that I experienced with having beautiful connections, of course, still to it.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I really want to talk about your title because in Glow Up Your Chakras, you talk about from going medicated to meditated. Love that. Explain the title to us. First of all, many people listening might not understand exactly what a chakra is. So can you just explain your title, how it came to you, and what it means to you?
Of course, yeah. So Glow Up Your Chakras is, of course, we're talking about chakras, which are the energy centers in our body. We have 7 main energy centers, basically running along the spine from the root up to the crown, and each center has a different function. So the root chakra is all about safety and security. The sacral chakra, located right below the belly button, is all about sexuality, creativity. The solar plexus, the stomach, is our power center. I always think about it like a light of a Care Bear, that yellow, like sunshine.
Oh, I love that.
Then we have the heart chakra, self-love, compassion, the throat chakra, our ability to speak our truth, the third eye for intuition, and our crown chakra, which is our connection to source. So we have these energy centers that can either kind of be spinning clockwise in a direction that's flowing and functioning for us, or spinning counterclockwise and not supporting us, or sometimes just not spinning at all. So I essentially do work to help people align their chakras, and with that, it's connected to the meridians of the body, which are connected to the organs. So I'm working with the body, the brain, the nervous system, the organs, and that's what I kind of talk about throughout the book, Glowing Up Your Chakras. And that title in itself comes from my original program, my first program that I ever really launched, called Glow Up Your Chakras, where I worked with clients for 14 weeks. 2 weeks spent on each chakra. And it's actually a sound healing program that I have now. People can purchase. It's sound healing and journal prompts. And it's also a part of my Glow Up portal. So it's like, it's still available. It's still amazing. And it's truly what changed my life. I just wrote a Substack piece on it, where I dive deeper into how I started Glow Up Your Chakras. And from there, the medicated to meditated, I was medicated. I was medicated at a young age, and it's actually, I call it out in the first chapter of my book in a really bold way, but I was medicated. I started taking Adderall when I was in 9th grade. From there, my senior year of high school, I was dealing with jaw pain, and ultimately I had my first surgery, so I was on Vicodin, painkillers, muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories. And because I was on the Adderall, that would keep me in a state of, I couldn't eat, basically. I convinced my doctors that I needed medication for anxiety to help me come down at night. And eventually I also was taking Ambien and, whatever else I could get my hands on, Quaaludes, on occasion. That didn't make the book, but that should be for a Substack for another time.
Yeah.
For the next book, actually, probably yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I want to ask you because, I just started including meditation in my healing a couple years ago, and it's really transformed my life. Can you talk a little bit about, the difference in just connecting with ourselves, being medicated versus leaning into other kinds of things like meditation, how it's different, I feel that when you could, the power of silence is so healing and such a powerful tool. I think I don't take medications, but I used to drink a lot more, and I don't really drink that much anymore because I can literally feel myself become disconnected from myself, even after one cocktail. Can you speak a little bit about just being connected like that, and how medication or alcohol and things like that can sort of pull ourselves apart?
Yeah, so I talk about this in one of the chapters in the book, and it was a big wake up call for me around alcohol specifically, because I used to black out a lot when I would drink in my 20s. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'll just have 3 drinks. But I read this article that popped up on Facebook talking about how when we allow spirit in, which alcohol is a spirit, it allows we're pouring spirit in, and it allows our soul to kind of hang out outside of us because it doesn't want to be a part of whatever it is we're necessarily allowing in. And that article, I don't even know where it was from. I wish I did.
Chills.
Hit me so hard. And I was like, oh my God, because I'd always get home safely. But I don't even know how I'd get home, but I always got home safely. So I know for sure my angels, guides, and loved ones were taking care of me before I even knew that they were taking care of me.
Yeah.
So for me with alcohol, that was kind of my understanding. When it came to pills, there was a point in time for me that I remember my dad, he was taking Coumadin, a blood thinner, and he said, I'm not going to take this for the rest of my life. I refuse to be on pills for the rest of my life. And he didn't end up taking it. He doesn't take it. And it really stuck with me. And I remember after my reconstructive jaw surgery, I had just turned 25. And I was like, I don't want to take pills for the rest of my life. I don't want to do this. Like, I don't know what this is, but I don't want to do it. And I was still heavily medicating with cannabis, but cannabis was something that helped me start to get meditated. Okay. And I started to be able to relax and find myself and find a sense of peace. And then eventually it became sound bowls and the gong, and those became the new things that got me meditated. And then I moved to LA and I'd go for really long walks in nature, and I was like, oh, like I'm just in silence. This is so nice. So slowly I worked myself to even being able to get on the mat and sit down and meditate. And I think that's a problem, is people often think like meditation means I have to sit down, I have to be quiet, and that's not the case. It can be anything. It can be knitting, it can be sewing, it can be cooking, it can be whatever it is that gets you to that relaxed state where you're just not thinking anymore.
Yeah, I love that you say that. I mean, I honestly, since I've started meditating, I notice now more than ever, I used to do it every morning, like actually do a meditation, a guided meditation. But sometimes I just don't have time. So it literally could just be while I'm making my coffee, like closing my eyes and breathing for a couple of minutes, or taking my salad outside and just sitting in the sun and slowly eating and just, I don't know, sitting in silence and being like, just feeling my weight of my body, like on the ground, and feeling grounded and present. So, those small shifts I swear, just create the biggest changes. They really do.
Totally. And I think even right now, I'm in a season where I'm not doing a morning practice. I'm getting ready for prenatal yoga teacher training, and I know I'll have like early sadhanas every morning. So I'm like, I just need a break right now. Yeah. And I think it's so important to take those breaks and not put pressure on myself to be a certain way, because that's a very old version of me that no longer serves me. When I know I want to do a meditation for 40 days or however many, I'm going to do it. And when I don't want to, giving myself the space and freedom to just go for a long walk with my dog in the morning instead and not have headphones in, that's what I need.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you combine like ancient practices with very grounded, sort of like a no bullshit approach. How is it that you keep healing so accessible and real, especially for people who might feel intimidated by the spirituality part?
You know, I think it's really easy not that it's easy, but it's easy for anyone to go to Peru and do ayahuasca in the jungle. Like, right? Like, okay, I can take a week off and I'm going to go on journey, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to live my life. But like, what if you make your life your ayahuasca journey? Since Jeff's passing, I started to really navigate life through the lens of my life as a puzzle. And I'm just like finding the pieces along the way that fit the puzzle, which is me. So it allows me to walk through life with more curiosity, more joy, more play. For instance, I go for long walks with my dog in the morning. And we go to the same place pretty much every morning. I found these 4 rainbow eucalyptus trees that are on a random street that no one would have found, right? But I was guided there one morning. And those rainbow eucalyptus trees remind me of Hawaii because it's the only other place I saw them. So I'll go to these trees to connect with another energy and another portal. So glow up the portal is a reason, because I look at life like these portals that we can enter and exit different places and different realms at all times. And like, I know that sounds crazy, and I don't even know how I got to a place in my life where I unlocked that for myself, but it's how I navigate life, and it's how my clients that work with me also start to navigate life. And we start to get just like clues all the time. And I've always compared it to playing like Clue or Guess Who or Blue's Clues. Like, it's just this puzzle, and I'm figuring it out, and I'm having fun along the way and finding different portals.
I love that. And I love that you say that you're having fun along the way, because, life itself is hard, and we all have so much stuff to do. But like, it doesn't have to be another job. Like, healing doesn't have to be another job. You can like literally just integrate it into yourself. Or like, I used to dread working out so much. And then I had a podcast interview like a couple months ago, and she's like, just use the word movement. And I'm like, huh. So working out sounds so hard to me. I got to work out as soon as I drop the kids off. And I'm like, now I put on my little weighted vest and I go for movement. I walk my dogs, and it just makes me smile. So it's like, everything, I don't know, like with healing, it just doesn't need to be another job. Like, I don't know.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I definitely, when I was in my unhealed healing phase, it was a job. And it was like, I have to show up all the time. Like, I have to keep healing. And now it's like, it's integrated. It's just like kind of, okay, I'm not meditating, but I'm making my cup of matcha and I'm actually meditating, because it's just, it becomes, you're living the embodiment of the journey, and you're no longer in the separation from it. Like, I guess the way it's coming through is like, I was never broken. So why am I on a healing journey if I wasn't broken? I was just simply like experiencing a disconnect from my authentic self. So the more I connect with my authentic self, the more I can just live continuing to connect with who I truly am, as opposed to like, you're broken, you need to be healed. Like, you're not fucking broken. Like, you're not broken. Like, maybe it's not like things aren't how you want them to be, but doesn't mean you're broken and like you need to be fixed. Like, you just need to be loved. Like, sorry you didn't love yourself. Sorry your mom didn't love you. Sorry your dad didn't love you. Sorry your boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever, your teachers. I'm sorry everyone was mean to you. And I'm sorry it made you mean to yourself, but it doesn't mean you're broken, and it doesn't mean you can't fix yourself. And people need to stop looking at healing as fixing themselves and this work. And it's like movement. It's something we get to practice every day. We get to practice movement every day. I love that reframe, because I don't want to work out every day. I'm like angry at working out lately. I'm like, I don't want to work out. So now I'm like, oh, I love practicing movement. Like, I already do that. I do my 10K steps a day. Like, what other movements can I start doing? So I love that. It's the same with healing. Like, it's not being broken. It's knowing like you're good. Just love yourself every day.
I love that you say that. In fact, I'm going to have to reconsider how I approach my whole healing journey, because maybe it's more of like an awakening or a connection journey. Maybe I got to get rid of that word healing like I do workout. Seriously. I love what you just said.
Yeah. It's people get so stuck on the healing journey. And it's like, and that's so much of why I wrote this book, because I'm not here to be anyone's guru. I am here to heal myself and continue my journey and open the doors for others to heal themselves and to provide you the tools. And, but ultimately my purpose is to remind you that you already are whole, that you are your own greatest healer. Like, you were never broken. So that's really so much of the intention of this book, is to release your stories, release your shame, release all of the stuff so you can just remember who you are at the beginning.
Yeah. For anyone that's listening, you have studied so many different healing modalities. Some of them I can't even correctly pronounce, so I'm not going to even try. But if someone is brand new to energy healing, where do you recommend they start? Besides step one, buying your book, what's the first thing they do in terms of energy healing? Where should they start?
So for me, the first thing I was guided to was Reiki. I mean, years ago, acupuncture, but I think acupuncture is even more physical, even though we're working with energy, like there's still the needles. So I would say check out Reiki or check out a sound healing. Like, I have tons of free sound healings online, but like even in your local neighborhood, like Google local sound healing, go to a class, check it out. You don't have to spend so much money. Healing doesn't have to be expensive. The spiritual journey doesn't have to be expensive. Like, there's ways that everything can be worked into your life. So those were my gateways. My gateways were Kundalini yoga, Reiki, and sound healing. So I would recommend all of those three things to look into in terms of experiencing an energy type of session or experience.
I love that you say that, especially that it doesn't have to be expensive, because one thing that I often see or read about or people I connect with is, they will go and spend thousands of dollars on ayahuasca in the jungles of Costa Rica, or they will do this and hire this therapist that does this certain thing under a full moon, and they will go into a crystal store, and instead of starting with one crystal, they'll go and spend $1,000 on all these crystals. So now they have a crystal corner. Like, it's like, start small, because it's like slow and steady wins the race. It's like being able to show up for yourself every day and incorporate like some small things. Maybe it's one crystal, maybe it's, a therapy session or a sound bowl class. See, try different things. There's no one size fits all to healing, but so many people I see go and they drop thousands of dollars and do these extreme things, and then they come back and they can't integrate it into their real life. Because honestly, I'm interested. I've never done ayahuasca. I think that sounds amazing, but I feel like now I'm in the place to go and do it. If I would have done it 3 years ago, I think I would have came back and I wouldn't have known, like, that would have been a vacation. But to come back with 2 kids and chaos and be able to be that person I was in Costa Rica, I think it would have taken like some time. So what are your suggestions for people who are moving through grief and burnout and identity loss? Like, is it better to is it consistency and starting small? Is it, incorporating a couple of things rather than everything under the moon?
I think it's interesting because like a past version of me would have had one answer, and this new version has another. And the truth is, it's because I understand human design more. And each of us are designed. There are a few different types. I think it's 5 different types of designs, but like then there's the types. Anyway, we're all designed differently.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm someone that got all of the crystals. And as someone that got all the crystals, let me inform you guys, you don't need all of them, and you're going to forget what half of them are.
By the way, I did go and buy like 10 crystals at a crystal store, and I have the amethyst one and the one for creativity. I can't find the book that tells me about all of them. And at this point, my son is thinking they're Geo something moon rocks, and I've lost half of them. But I'm making fun of myself a little bit.
No, it's so true. So I think some people are going to go out and experiment, right? And I think when I was I need to have all the things. Like even when I went to Egypt a few years ago, I was like, I have to get like 10 oils instead of just like 2 oils. I literally use 2 of them. I don't use all 10. Maybe I will one day. I don't know. But I think that's still part of the unhealed ego.
Yeah.
And the part that is the unhealthy roots, really, that are still holding on to something, craving something, like a baby needing a pacifier. Well, if I have the thing, if I can hold on to the thing, then I'm safe. And safety and security doesn't live in the tangible things. And I think that's what we're seeking so often. We're like, okay, I'm on the healing journey. Let me get all the tangible things. Then I'll be safe. Then it will work. And it's like, just because you got a feather wand doesn't mean it's going to work if you're not actually, whether it be meditating every day or doing movement every day or whatever that's going to look like for you, whether it's working with a coach like myself or someone else, whether it's doing one of my sound healing programs where every day for 14 weeks, you are listening to a sound healing to ultimately slowly go through a process and integrate along the way. So I think there's so many, like if you're going to go to the jungles of Peru or wherever and do the ceremony or even in New York, upstate, wherever it may be in Hallandale, Florida, like you're just have a plan for what you're going to do after. It's no different than what I would say to a client if they were going through a weight loss journey and having a surgery or using a medication. What's your plan to integrate? Because as you enter this new body, right? When we enter a new energetic body, when we enter a new physical body, we're going to have a mental experience, and we need to be able to have everything reach the same understanding. We need the nervous system to integrate. We need the chakras to integrate. We need the mind to integrate. There's so much happening.
That's a great way to explain that. It's with any journey, just being able to integrate it and having a plan. That's a great tip. Okay, let's talk about that book, baby. You say to yourself, I'm writing the book. You sit down. What was the process like for you? Did you write every day? Was it hard to write at first? Did you almost quit a couple of times?
Yeah.
You're like, yes.
So, like I said, it started as a cookbook. So about 3 years ago, I had finished the cookbook and was like, who the fuck cares about recipes from me? I haven't been a chef in 7 years. Like no one would even know I was a chef if I didn't post food when I'm cooking in my stories sometimes. No one knows. And then I got a call, and I talk about this in the book. I got a call from some friends who were doing a retreat for Julianne Huff's company, Kinergy. They wanted to know if I wanted to come and speak. So the first year I had done an event speaking with them, and then they called me the following year and asked me to be the chef for about 30 people for 5 days. And I was like, all right, well, that sounds like a fun challenge. I haven't done that in 7 years. Let's see if I can dust myself off and make it happen. So I flew to Sedona and did a retreat. It went amazing. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a girlfriend that was asking me if I could fly up to New York to be a private chef for a client for a month that needed kind of an in-home recovery setting. So she wanted me to fly up to New York to cook and do sound healing and energy work. So I said, okay, and went to New York in February when I live in Miami. So you don't have this whole let thing, like no one's going to the snow. And then after that, at the same time, actually, as I was in that house, I had started my Kundalini yoga teacher training. And it was during Kundalini teacher training that the book evolved, because I evolved. And I went to the depths and the levels that I was ready to write. It was a slow process at first. And then I found an editor that was amazing. And she said to me, you've already built the house. Like now I'm here to help you bring in the furniture. And don't worry about where the furniture goes yet. We'll organize it later. And the way she spoke, and I talked to quite a few editors. I went on a journey for a while because I was like, I think I wrote the book, but I don't know. I don't know what to do now. I need some help. So I interviewed a few people, and the way she spoke, I was like, oh, she like gets me. There's something about her that really understands me. And anyway, there were a lot of clues that she was the person I was supposed to work with. And once I started working with her, it went pretty quickly. She'd tell me, okay, we need a story here. Like add a piece of furniture to this room, add a piece of furniture to this room. So I just started storytelling the stuff that I was ready The stuff that I was ready to tell, that like I didn't know I was ready to tell until I was processing it on the mat in Kundalini. I was then processing the words out loud in my writing, and then I would share the new piece, and she'd either say to me, okay, this is great, or now I want you to do this in characters. And I would be like, oh my God, what does that mean? And she'd explain the method of writing, and it just all made sense to me. And I've always felt that I was meant to write. I've known that intuitively for about 8 years, but I wasn't there yet. But once it unlocked, it was like, I love it now. Like this is what I want to do. It feels so much of a part of the next chapter of my life in a big way.
Oh, I love that. Congratulations, Lauren. I'm so happy for you. And you're like glowing as you talk about glow up your chakras. It's beautiful. It really is.
Thank
Okay.
you. It works.
I have a couple questions for you. Healing practice you swear by?
Reiki.
Reiki?
Holy
Is there
fire
a
Reiki specifically, which is the Reiki I do, and so many people are trained in it now. But no, just Reiki. Forget it. Just Reiki. Yeah,
Reiki?
Reiki.
Okay. A mantra or affirmation that you swear by?
It's a song, mantra affirmation, Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down.
I love that. And what is one book that's changed your life besides your own?
Many Lives, Many Masters.
Oh, I love that book. Oh my gosh, I love it.
To anyone and everyone should read Many Lives, Many Masters. It will change your life.
Change your life. Well, this podcast is all about surviving roots, and I would love to know one root you had to really heal in yourself to grow into the woman that you are today. I know there's probably many, as there are for all of us, but is there one root, even through this writing this book, is there one specific root that you can think of that you really had to heal in yourself to become the woman you are today?
You know, I had to learn where my dysfunction came from, and it wasn't necessarily from anyone outside of me. I had to dig and find out where that dysfunction lived within myself in order to actually live as my truest self.
Wow, that's beautiful. I want to thank you for today, your spiritual wisdom, your personality, your light. Thank you for your time. I am so excited for your book, Glow Up Your Chakras, From Medicated to Meditated. Everyone, grab your copy on Amazon now. You will not be sorry. I read through it like I couldn't put it down. Chapter 1 was, I mean, you get sucked in at chapter 1. Great choice for the first chapter.
Thank you. The editor, she knew how to feng shui that house with me.
Listen, the lady can build a house. Thank you so much again for being here. Congratulations. And I'm wishing you so much success on this book and when you start book 2.
Thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Surviving Roots. I hope it gave you something meaningful to carry with you. Let's keep this conversation going. Find me on Instagram at cari.fund, where I'll share more from the show. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs it. And remember, we are the choices that we make.